Oh no, so that would happen multiple times with me and X on the phone, and we call back, and we got past the issues. He apologized to me, which I thought was very mature of him. He apologized for how he treated the situation, not knowing me and saying certain things publicly. However, beyond that, he was in a very dire state, and this stuff might bore you guys, but I'm sorry. Like, this is therapeutic for me. He was locked up. He didn't think he was going to get out for any time soon. He had a song that was popping off. And of course, the Drake thing happened. And, like he felt like people didn't care about him in jail. And, through those conversations when he was in jail, I got an understanding of who he was as a person. Very deep thinker. The way he thought was completely unorthodox. And if you think about just how regular people think or relate things. And I saw he was a person, and he was really big on energy. Really big on energy. Energy and other things, just things that you would listen to someone, or you would think that someone who's super well read would be like into, but like he was not only into these things, like he lived his life accordingly. Anyway, he did get out of jail. He made XX a freshman list. We all know what happened. He dropped his album. He had one of the biggest cult followings, obviously his fan base, and really what he calls his family. He then signed a $6 million deal, reportedly, with Capitol Records. He was on Empire before he sold 70,000 records. Huge. What people don't understand is that, and I'll also interject myself into the equation of where I kind of come into things. Artists like X, artists like Uzi and Yachty, before they really became mainstream, those are what I really covered on YouTube. I've never made my name by covering the Drakes. Now, I do cover the Drakes, but it was when I covered the Keefs, is when I covered the Yachties, the Uzis, the artists that a lot of people call SoundCloud rappers or mumble rap. And with each of those artists, for me, it's a very proud moment when I see that they're not only the artists that Academics covers, they're a huge fucking superstar. And in the case of Yachty, in the case of Uzi, in the case of X, they were huge superstars. So, of course, when he drops his new album, and it sells really good numbers, he has a smash hit, which was Sad. I remember the first time he played Sad for me. And I remember, like, the fans had some leaks of it. I was like, yo, I can't get that lyric. Like, because the fans wrote up a whole thing. And I said, what are you saying there? And he said, are you saying, I'm sad and low? And he said, no, I'm saying, I'm sad, I know. But anyway, just even fast forward past that. Me and his relationship personally has been up and down. If you don't know, X does not like the media. And if there's any media outlet out there that said X fucked with them, outside of XXL, they're lying. X fucked with none of them. X hated them. There's multiple stories and tangents I could go on with that, but he didn't fuck with media like that. So I did feel privileged to not only know this guy, but also kind of be it's kind of almost like an exclusive plug for really any information from this guy who's a growing artist. But beyond that, me and him, we were friends. And and for some of you guys, some people look at it like, and there's a popular narrative. I'm gonna get to all these popular narratives because I believe you guys buy into certain stuff. Oh, Hank, you're so naive. I was friends with the guy. If you don't believe it, or you think it was some fake type of no, the guy didn't like industry shit. I saw a lot of me in him. He didn't fuck with industry shit. He didn't want to be like doing press runs. He wasn't into that shit. Same with me. You don't catch me at an industry event to save your life. I've been invited to every one of them, from Kanye's listening party to Nas, and no disrespect to the ones that I haven't gone to. There's nothing. It's not my scene. It's not my scene. It just isn't. But X was just like that, and me and his relationship, a lot of times, you know what I mean, it was up and down because also as his friend, I was also a journalist, and let me stop saying journalist before somebody holds me to that. But I got a job to do. You know what I mean? I got a job to do. You know what I mean? Like, not because I'm your friend. If something bad comes out, if whether it was a report or leaked whatever court documents that allege that you may have done this, even though you're my friend, I gotta report it. And yeah, we're not gonna probably have the best conversation afterwards, but you know what? And I'm gonna really speed this whole story up. But me and him, we stopped speaking while knowing each other 3 or 4 times, and we always came back. The first time, because me, I'm very hands off with artists. Like, okay, I usually understand when people talk to me. Usually they try to use me for the platform I have, and if it doesn't benefit them, they stop talking to me. Or if they don't need me anymore, they stop talking to me. That's what it is. But Fresh was different. Okay, I remember when we didn't talk for a while, he reached out to me. So what happens? I didn't reach out back to him. I'm like, all right, cool. We'll separate for now, whatever. But he reached out and he said, yo, Ak, I love you. He's like, we're going to fight. We're brothers. He's like, don't give me the cold shoulder, though. And I say that to say, me and him, we fought a couple times, and then we would talk again. And unfortunately, before he died, I believe a month and a half before he died, we had one of those fights. And again, you got to realize brothers do fight, you know what I mean? But never in the back of my mind I think that he would die before we got a chance to make up or got back on good terms. And not a million years without thinking about his death. So that is my relationship with X. Okay? I will also say for a lot of rappers now, the newer rappers who fuck with me, they reach out to me, whatever relationship you might see, most of them, they do respect my opinion and thoughts. They do, like, if I give them guidance, they'll think about it. I'm not saying they'll always follow, they'll think about it. That's worth a lot because I know that's a lot of responsibility. And for some people, it might be trivial because they might be like, yo, bruh, like, you giving advice in a YouTube video means nothing, but to a little kid who was probably 14 or 15 who grew up watching my videos when I was talking about other artists and now I'm talking about them, for me to give them that advice over the phone, it means a lot to them. Or even through a video, it means a lot. So, trust me, in many situations, I try to give X advice. And also, I will say vice versa, because X tried to give me advice. You know what I mean? One of the things he told me, he's like, yo, he said, I think, what did he say? He said, you gotta stop drinking Hennessy. You gotta just drink wine. And, bam, whatever. That's relationship, man. Anyway, he passed away. And we don't know exactly what happened. But I do, like, I was a little bit shocked by some of the comments I was hearing recently by people who were trying to sum up his death. And it not only showed me how uninformed people were or how detached. And I get it, X wasn't the guy who was super friendly with the media and super friendly with all the people in the media. And by the way, to when people ask or say, how is academics affected? I'll tell you this. When the Migos situation happened, with the Everyday Struggle Migos situation, X was the first person, before family, who called me. Yo, Ak, you good? You sure? X. After Vic Mensa situation, X. So, it's more than just some exploitative, you know? A lot of people get this fucked up, like, thinking, yo, there's some exploitative bullshit, and I'm gonna get to direct comments, because I've been hearing them. But, that was pretty much it. Anyway, recently, I'm you know, he passed away, and of course, like, for the people who, some people say, yo, he was a bad guy, the domestic abuse stuff, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really, for those people, I do believe they should have a voice. For me, whether those allegations were true or not, it matters none to me now because he's dead, and his judgment ultimately lies with God. So that's not for me to really still be caring about anymore. Even though I do have sympathy if there was really a victim. But other than that, like, if you followed X for the last couple of months, at least publicly, he's been a beacon of positivity. He's been trying to give back. He's been trying to be a good person. Now, what happens is that when X got popular and came out of jail, keep in mind a kid who grew up in a fucking broken home, mom was in and out, and he grew up a lot with his grandma. Like, a lot of kids could identify with I Can. He rebelled a lot. He fought a lot. He did a lot of things that he probably wasn't proud of at the time of his death. Like because he matured. You know what I mean? And of course, people hold these things and judge him for it for the rest of his life, clearly. Because yes, he felt Drake stole his track. Yes, he didn't know how to handle that. He didn't know, like, hey, maybe you could try to get something behind the scenes and talk to him. The kid was on Empire. He didn't know any other way but saying, Act, record everything I'm saying, fuck Drake. And I remember calling him after he said something about Drake Mom, and I said, yo, you're going too far, stop. Stop, take it down, stop. But that was his way, and this was a kid who was it 18 or 17? He was 18 at that point, I believe, 18. So you have to keep that in mind. I believe it was 17. No, 18. So you have to keep that in mind. This is it's really two. One was the Drake situation that spurred into the Migos situation because we had Offset who spoke out and said, yo, this guy's a fucking nut to think that Drake stole his song. So yes, as a kid who, again, you know, like, and I'm sorry I'm digging up the past, but you have to understand, a nigga was in jail. He thought, man, like, the only reason why people even care about me, why I think I might have a shot at getting out, is because of this one song. And then he hears Drake fucking likes his music. And he's like, oh shit, okay, this is great. Then he hears Drake perform almost a copy in terms of flow of his song, so he's mad. He lashed out. That's how the Migos thing started. That's how whatever was 600 Breezy started. Of course, people looked at that online and said, well, common denominator here is X. He's a bad guy. He loves to beef. Keep in mind, and I'm going to keep reiterating it, it's an 18-year-old kid, doesn't know how to control his emotions, doesn't know how to properly respond, doesn't even understand the power he holds. Then, of course, the Rob Stone situation happens. Again, these are situations I've talked to him at length about all of them. I've challenged him on all of these things. For the people, and I'll get to those people who thought I was ever enabling him to do anything, you're wrong. If you thought posting something, X's Instagram account is 1,000,000 times more powerful than all my accounts put together. Trust me on this. You just look at it on my Instagram. The people he affects care about him. So, the Rob Stone incident, and by the way, that was an incident he kind of, that beef or whatever you want to call it, right? He inherited from Ski Mask. If you guys are not familiar with that story, Ski Mask, the Slump God, went on a tour with Designer. Designer had a tour, and Ski Mask was featured, and also Rob Stone. Ski Mask was a hotter artist because of his affiliation to X, and of course, shit he done. And when the tour got to California, the San Diego region, just naturally, you should imagine, if that's your hometown, even if you're an opener, you're gonna get a little bit more preference when you get to your hometown. Clearly, that happened. Blah blah blah. And I'm sorry I'm so long-winded, but I'm trying to explain for a lot of people who are speaking uninformed and acting like this kid was a real problem child, like he was just fucking up, like he was just the worst thing ever. I'm giving you because you guys reacted to headlines. You guys never follow the story. It's when you react to headlines, you make your decision about someone like this. You don't follow the story. Ski Mask gets jumped on stage. X is furious. He said a lot of things, and again, I'm not excusing him, but he's an 18-year-old kid, does not know how to deal with issues other than screaming at his phone and saying fuck the other guy. Clearly, that manifested itself when he went to California and he was punched on stage. Again, this is still building, and by the way, this was a growing thing for him, where he was hating the media because the media was like chronologically just putting up these things about him, like, hey, he's beefing another one. He said this, and for him, he was like, you guys are making me look like a monster. You're making me look so evil. While if he did charity, no mention of it. No mention of it. That's why, if you remember the stream me and him did, he said, I will tattoo one of these media organizations' names on my ass if they will just show the good I do. Just show the good I do. Because right now, it's completely one-sided. And we do live by headlines. A lot of people live by headlines because most of the people who are judging him now lived by headlines. Most of the people who see the accusations from his case live by headlines. Most people who saw him continually in these quote-unquote issues or beefs that they're saying you're the common denominator, they look at headlines. Now, in the last 6 months, he changed his life drastically. He removed people around his circle. He was all about energy. If he felt people had bad energy, he was down and he was willing, and he did. He removed them. He was trying to stay out of the spotlight, at least with anything negative. And again, I'm not going to get into if this was all true even behind the scenes, but he was trying to be a good kid. He was trying to give back. He was trying to do all these things and lay low, because he realized at that point his music was going to sell. Like, he was making great music. People realized it was going to sell. Didn't have to do it. So, again, for his death to come at this point when he clearly turned around his life is incredibly sad. But you know what's even more incredibly sad, but even more disgusting, is listening to my fellow people in the media who had no idea and never really kept up with X, never really cared for him. Now all try to sit on a high horse and point fingers of who's to blame for his death. Yo, he died because of this. Or everybody loves the pat on the back. Didn't I tell y'all? It was disgusting. I listened to Joe Budden's podcast today, and it was a very terrible episode. Because Joe Budden's a guy I do like and I respect, and a guy who was my former coworker. But the two little stooges who were with him and trying to, I don't know what they were trying to do. They turned the conversation about X's death into trying to almost say academics did it. Now, let's be clear. Or I'm to blame. Now, let's be clear. I have no problem with niggas criticizing me. Those two niggas have criticized me for a while. By the way, every time they speak, I see a cloud of jealousy. He doesn't deserve a platform. He doesn't deserve. I work for this. And this is not to make, trust me, this is not about me. That's why I'm kind of upset. Yeah, turn the conversation about X's death. And what we know right now, this is facts. Because whatever y'all are talking about, well, this is right. They said the most imbecile thing ever. Like, X was beefing with niggas and he died as a result of a beef. You know why? You know why that's even worse? That podcast is listened to by 500,000 people daily. Now, I have an audience. I get it. But you guys have an audience too. And when you tell people or try to put it out there or even imply that this is some type of result of rap beef, when we don't know that yet. Maybe it is, but we don't know that yet. Even the cops right now are saying it's random. When you imply that, you change the entire legacy and entire perspective of this kid. You almost basically put it, well, he kind of deserved it. How dare you guys? Even if you want to criticize me, there's many days to criticize me. You can criticize me tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks from now. You don't have to pick his death to use that as a thing to criticize me. There's multiple times you could criticize me, and I get it. And if I have a response, I'll respond. But to chalk up that man's death and then try to use it as something to say this is what? No. Again, let's talk about what we know currently. The police are saying it's random. Who knows if it's random? It might not be random. But we don't know any rap beef or any situation that was publicized, at least via the internet, that helped cause this. Which, number one, I would then look at you to say, how is this my fault? If nothing online causes, how is this my fault? Number two, I actually pulled out number two. I'm sorry. No. But seriously though, that is the main thing. If we don't know what happened and you start changing the narrative to say like, oh, this is what, like, if academics didn't do this. And so I believe one of those guys' points It's the albino kid. He said academics was on everyday struggle, wishing RIP, but he promoted this. This is why I have to call you guys either you don't have enough knowledge, or just super uninformed, or you just don't care, or you're so disgusting that you're just trying to tie, like, you guys are trying to get at me. I get it. Just don't use X. Don't use X. Then don't try to put a narrative to make me feel bad for being sad for my friend. If my friend, and by the way, this can happen to anyone. Again, I'm going with what's known so far. This can happen to anyone. X was a millionaire. The nigga has made $10 million in his career thus far. If he's rolling around without security in a very expensive car, he came out of somewhere, somebody tried to rob him. And again, I'm going with that because we don't know anything right now. And I'm then asking y'all, why are y'all making the comments y'all are making if y'all don't know anything more than what I'm saying? And he gets robbed. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to anybody. That's not rap beef. That's not social media posting. It's not because X used to just say random shit online or act out. That is not the cause of his death. That's not the cause of his death. I just don't know how people with that big of a platform could sit there and try to tie this guy's murder and death, number one, around a media personality. Number two, basically almost try to throw a little blame to him to say, well, this is what beefing went on. I get it. You guys have an angle. Like, yeah, well, these new kids, that's the whole, I guess, like I think their demographics is the older demographic. Clearly mine is younger. So I guess it's we're going to teach you how to navigate the streets. We get it. And sometimes y'all are informative. We get it. Nobody's knocking that. But only when it's applicable. Because the guy was trying to buy a motorcycle, he should have stayed out the streets? Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Where the fuck do you guys get this type of shit? You guys had a narrative, clearly, that, street shit is real, and a rapper just died, so it got to be street shit. We don't know that as a fact yet. But you tied his murder to it. Saying all type of bullshit, generic shit. That's why y'all should stay out the streets. Don't promote it. Then death is something you mourn. Are you saying because you listen to a song by 50 that's glorifying killing, if your mother died, you wouldn't be sad? You wouldn't say RIP if your friend died? If one of you guys died? God forbid. You wouldn't say RIP? So that was disgusting to y'all? I'm not gonna lie, man. I listen to these gentlemen, and again, I have respect for Joe, so I have to believe that they were uninformed and they were assuming he died because of a public rap beef. I listened to that and I said, who believes this shit? And you know the craziest thing is, I see another video that starts going viral. Joe warned academics about the guy died because apparently niggas just robbed him. This is not no rap beef. No. Again, at least what we know so far. If y'all know something that I don't know, please let me know, and also the authorities. So this whole thing of, we told Ak, you know what I mean, we've been telling these kids, stop using this guy's death to further whatever narrative y'all got. Please stop it. Again, he's my friend, and if your friend passes away, you will feel hurt. This wasn't something that, by the way, the sixth, and this is where that, we have a lot of podcasts like this, and that's why I'm glad we're going into in the new age where, like, a lot of the young and also current generation people could also establish their own voices, because every time I'm hearing from someone who is not in tune with the current generation, all they do is talk down, and they don't know. Like, they're trying to give good advice, except they don't know exactly what the situation is that they're giving advice to. They don't know. So if you don't know, you're gonna just kind of say random shit. You're saying shit that you think is going on, and you're just like saying bullshit. there's a lot going on. But to hear those men just equate a guy going out to purchase a motorcycle, and thus far, I'm telling y'all, unless they know something I don't know, this has not been connected to any rap beef. Anything public, anything that was posted online, it appears that either maybe something was going on that we don't know, or perhaps niggas tried to rob him. When I first heard this, and I still stand on this stance, this is what the point I'm trying to make. So really, when Joe Budden's podcast was discussing this, and this is why it's so disgusting, and this is the majority of this other generation that's like trying to school us through podcasts and radio shows and all that. Y'all was trying to compare, essentially what I'm hearing, y'all was trying to compare X to 6ix9ine. Y'all couldn't wait to reel in 6ix9ine into this. 6ix9ine going to Chicago has nothing to do with X, and it's completely different. X never did anything that 6ix9ine did. If you think that's the case, or if you could liken what 6ix9ine is doing and what X is doing, or did, you're an idiot. Or you're just not paying attention, period. They brought 6ix9ine into the conversation real quick, and I'm like, why are we talking about 6ix9ine?